Sweat dripped from their foreheads as a young boy and his older sister dashed around the front yard, her heart pounding in time with her brother's laughter. The old white Victorian house stood silent behind them, its windows reflecting their every move. The plants on the porch swayed in the breeze, their leaves brushing together like sandpaper on a hardwood floor. The older sister paused, hearing what she thought was their mother's voice, soft and familiar, yet somehow distant, as if carried off by the wind from far away. But when she looked around, there was no one there. She glanced at her brother, and he met her gaze with the same questioning look, but they both shrugged it off, their attention quickly returning to their game. She tackled him to the ground, and they rolled together, laughing, their limbs tangled as they gasped for breath. But their laughter was cut short by a sharp, piercing whistle that split the air. Startled, the boy looked up in time to see a flock of ravens taking flight, their dark wings flapping furiously as they fled in the opposite direction. His sister's smile faltered as she, too, noticed the change in the atmosphere. Then the whistle had morphed into something else, a haunting tune sung by a woman beautiful yet wrong, like her voice didn't belong in this world. Their dog came racing out of the house, barking wildly, but the siblings barely registered the animal. The melody was enchanting. The children felt a strange compulsion to listen, to follow it, but their mother's panicked shout snapped them out of the trance. The older sister whipped around to see their mother rushing toward them, her face a mask of fear. "Get inside," their mother screamed, grabbing both of them by the arms and dragging them toward the house. The terror in her voice sent a surge of adrenaline through them, and they raced up the porch steps, the younger brother quickly falling behind. Once inside, their mother shoved them toward the stairs. "Hide! Quickly!" The children didn't hesitate. They knew this was serious, that whatever was out there wasn't something they could fight. The siblings exchanged a frightened glance before bolting up the stairs. The boy's legs felt like lead as he ran to the shared bedroom, the shadows deepening around him as the song grew louder, more insistent. He dove under his bed, curling up as small as he could, his breath coming in quick, shallow gasps. The floorboards creaked ominously, the sound of something heavy moving through the house. The older sister then darted into their bedroom, her heart racing as she searched for a hiding place. The closet was too obvious, and her brother is already under the bed. She could hear the woman's voice growing louder, seeping through the walls, making her feel as if the house itself was alive, pulsing with the rhythm of the melody. She spotted the space behind the door, just big enough for her to squeeze into, and ducked into it. The wall felt cool against her back, and she pressed herself flat, trying to make herself as small as possible. The boy's breath hitched as the voice abruptly stopped, leaving behind a heavy, oppressive stillness. His mind raced with terrible thoughts. Was his mother safe? Where was his sister? He strained his ears for any sound, his mother's voice, his sister's breathing, the dog's frantic barking. But there was nothing, just the deafening silence that made his skin crawl. Tears welled up in his eyes, fear and confusion twisting his stomach into knots. He had to find his mother, had to make sure she was okay. Ignoring his sister's warning, he crawled out from under the bed, his heart hammering in his chest as he descended downstairs. His older sister, on the other side of the door, was frozen in place, her breath coming in shallow gasps. Her heart pounded as she pressed her eye to the small gap between the door and the frame, peering down the hallway to see her family. The shadows shifted, and she caught a glimpse of something moving. Her breath caught in her throat, and she clamped her hands over her mouth to stifle a scream as the figure moved closer. It stopped just outside her door. Her heart hammered in her chest as she watched a hand, black, translucent skin with veins and muscles visible beneath the skin, slowly wrap around the door. Its fingernails were long and sharp, clicking against the wood as the figure prepared to yank the door open. She wanted to scream, to run, to do anything but stay where she was, but she couldn't move. She was frozen in place, her fear holding her captive as the door began to creak open, inch by agonizing inch. Suddenly, the children wake up at the same time in the middle of the night, looking at each other on opposite ends of their shared bedroom, drenched in sweat and knowing they had shared the same nightmare.